Hi everybody, today is a bit of a controversial video as far as my channel goes. You guys know I don't usually do any TMI stuff or anything too personal, but a lot of you have written to me about what to do when you are having your period as a dancer. So what I want to do today is set all embarrassment aside. We're going to have a heart-to-heart. I'm going to give you some of my experiences because all of the women in the ballet deal with this, you know. We're all going through this. You're not alone. We've all dealt with our period while dancing. So all embarrassment aside, I'm going to give you my tips. So let's get into it. All right, so the first point is something I've already said. You're not alone. We all go through this. We've all dealt with it. Every single woman, no matter what country you're from, deals with having their period. In my experience, I was lucky in that I didn't start till I was almost 17. So it was my second year at SAB, so I didn't do any of the younger years in ballet. I was not dealing with it. We were almost going to go to the doctor because I was so late. I was a couple months, I was going to be 17. And unfortunately, the day I got my period for the first time, I was doing a lecture demonstration at SAB doing 𝐂𝐤𝐽. So I had to wear black leotard, pink tights in front of people. Day one of my period. But on the other hand, I feel like it was good because I couldn't think about it. I couldn't sit there all day and worry about how I felt or how I looked. So I just kind of dealt with it. I put a tampon in and I went out and danced. Of course, the day you start, you feel like everybody knows it. You know, you feel like there's something about me. They're gonna know, they're gonna see it. But it was fine. It wasn't a big deal. If you don't make a big deal about it, it's not going to be a big deal. And as in my case, I couldn't worry about it. I had to go do the lecture dem in a black leotard and pink tights. So don't think that it's, again, such a big deal. We cannot tell, you know, people aren't sitting there and going, oh, she started her period today. Nobody really knows. You know what I mean? You're not alone and it's not written on your face. And so as a dancer, a lot of you know this, sometimes you just have to deal with it and you gotta perform in a black leotard. So in the company, when you get it, obviously, if it's that time of the month, you know, we're fortunate in that we don't have to wear uniforms. We would just wear a couple extra leg warmers, maybe black tights that day, a black leotard, and you just kind of get on with it. But as a ballet student, it's more difficult because you are in a black leotard and pink tights on a daily basis. So what I would do is wear a skirt that day. There's nothing wrong with wearing a skirt if you can. You know, if you're really concerned, there is nothing wrong with going up to your teacher, especially if it's a female teacher, and saying, look, I'm having my period. I really wonder if I could wear a skirt or, you know, keep my warm-up shorts on that day. Because if it's a female teacher, she will understand because she's been there. Remember, it's not like she's never been there. So there's nothing wrong with asking or just wearing the skirt. But my other tip is to change your tampon right before class because then you're less likely to have an accident. You know, if you've had one in for a couple hours, it's going to start to be, you know, you might have an accident. So change it right before class, wear your skirt, and again, try not to be like this, you know, because if you draw attention to yourself, then people are definitely going to pay attention to you. So kind of just get it out of your head, do what you do, and know that it's going to be okay and that every female has been through it. Now, in my experience, what I used to do for performances, whether or not I was having my period, whether or not I had just finished or it was in the middle of my cycle, I always wore a tampon. Every single show without fail. Because our bodies are weird sometimes. You might have a leak, you might have an issue, even if you've just finished, maybe you thought you were finished and you're not done, or maybe you have your timings off. So I would wear one every performance, just out of precaution, and I never had an issue. There was one particular performance that I was so glad I had one in because I ended up starting. So if I hadn't had one in, I would have had a problem, but because I did, it was fine. I didn't have any issues. I don't think I ever bled on a costume because I took precaution. There's nothing wrong with taking a little extra time for peace of mind, you know? So that is my advice to you. If you're gonna have to perform, put a tampon in regardless of whether or not you're having your period, because peace of mind is priceless, you know what I mean? And that can really help you. Now, here's another tip that I never did, but that helps some girls. If you're really concerned, wear 2 pairs of tights. Kind of odd, but they're both pink, they're the same color, but it just gives you a little bit extra protection especially with pink tights when you can see everything. So maybe if you're really concerned or you're feeling really nervous, wear 2 pairs of tights. You might feel a little bit extra layered, but if that's worth it to you to have the peace of mind, wear the 2nd pair of tights. You know, just a thought. And what we would always do under costumes is wear some sort of panty or thong, or, you know, we never just wore our costumes. I showed you in a recent Vlogmas the little things we were given to wear under our costumes, and I'll link them below for you at New York City Ballet. But we always wore something. It wasn't just tights and a costume, because if you have that extra little layer, it's going to be better. Even if it's in a tutu where it has a built-in panty, I recommend wearing something under it. I always did, because again, the more layers you have, even if they're thin layers, the less likely you're gonna be to have an accident. And nobody knows, you know, unless you wear blue panties under a pink tutu, probably not a good idea. Nobody's gonna know. As far as day-to-day how to deal with it, especially if you have to partner, you know, do what you can. If you have to wear the sweater because you feel like your chest is swollen or getting bigger that day, that's fine. I would wear maybe a long sleeve leotard, something that was going to hold you in. Another thing I talked about on Vlogmas, they have undergarments specifically made for dancers. I will link that below for you too, that can help with kind of keeping everything together. Couple extra layers, especially if you're in a situation where you can wear whatever you want. It's not a big deal. You know, a little tie sweater, maybe a skirt or some, you know, trash bag shorts that day. Just whatever you need to do to feel comfortable, because if you don't feel comfortable, you're not going to dance well. So there's nothing wrong with that. And in terms of making yourself feel better on your period days, avoid salt, because you're already going to feel bloated, you're already going to feel gross. The more salt you eat, the more you're going to retain water. So really watch your salt on your period days. That can help you a lot, especially if you have to partner, which is always interesting. There's also nothing wrong with taking some Advil. If you're having bad cramps, take some Advil. It's fine. You know, why are you going to put yourself through that torture? Take some Advil. It can really, really help you. Or they even have like specific little like things you can get at the drugstore for women on their period, like 𝐕𝐢𝐼, I think it's called. And it helps with bloating and water retention and cramps. And I remember if I was having a bad period day, I just take a couple of those and I was so much better. Especially when you're a dancer and your job is to look a certain way and perform a certain way. If you have to take something like that, it's not illegal drugs, it's not, you know, not smoking. You're taking a mild pain reliever to help with your cramps, to help with the bloating. You know, that's your job, it's part of your job. So I would take something for it, it's not a big deal. So again, ladies, this is not something you have to go through yourself. You know, I would wear a tampon for every performance without fail. I would wear some extra layers if you're having a rough day. If you're in ballet school and you're having a really heavy period, ask your teacher, look, I really need to wear something. I'm very self-conscious. I'm worried about leaks. I need to wear my shorts. I need to wear a skirt. And ask her. And, you know, she will be very understanding. If you have a male teacher, it's a little bit different. But if there's a female teacher you can ask. There's nothing wrong with it. She's been there, you know? I think that's a thing to remember. All women have been there. You're not alone. It's really easy to forget that. And try not to think about it. Try not to make it such a big deal. You know, you feel like everybody's eyes are on you. But if you kind of just downplay it, wear your extra layers, take your Advil, avoid salt, and wear the right protection for you, you're going to be fine. You know, and yes, performing with it is never fun, but if you have to wear that extra pair of tights, fine. You know, I would change your tampon again right before the show or right before class, so you're less likely to have a problem. And just remember, it's going to be okay. Ladies, the thing I want to drive home to you is that I know when you're younger, it's scary. You think the world has come to an end. You think, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. Everybody knows it gets better. When you get to be a little older, you get to be my age, it's not a big deal. It's like, oh, here it comes. You know, you're standing next to the girl at bar and she says, oh, I'm having my period. Oh, girl, I feel ya. It's not such a big deal. You don't feel like the world has come to an end. So know that. It gets better. It's not such a big deal. You will not fear performances anymore. Just take the right precaution. You know, peace of mind is priceless. Don't think that you are not worth peace of mind. Do what you need to do and it will get better. It's not going to be awful for the rest of your life. And because it is something you have to deal with for a while. Not everybody is looking at you, you know, it's going to be okay. If I missed anything that you guys want me to address, please leave me a comment in the box below. There's not really a lot to this other than giving you the tips that I have and telling you that it's going to be okay. Alright, you guys, I hope this helped you. Again, it's kind of a different video for me, but leave me a comment if this helped you or I missed something that you want me to get back to. If you missed my Nutcracker survival guide, it is right there. You can click it to watch. Hope you guys are having an amazing holiday season and great Nutcracker performances. I love you all, and I'll see you soon.